Good morning, dear friends. Here we are for another study of the book Courage by several spirit authors through the mediumship of Francisco Cândido Xavier. Today we have the most blessed opportunity of studying the wisdom of the Spirit Emmanuel. Today's chapter is chapter 42. And Emmanuel labeled this chapter Step of Light. So let's see. We only have 8 more chapters to go. Let's take a look at the words of wisdom from Emmanuel and how can we extract his wisdom and try and apply it to our daily lives. Shall we? So he says, in tribulations or disagreements that may aggravate our life's problems, let us remember the need for a certain donation from ourselves. Perhaps the most difficult one is to the benefit of our souls. This is the first step towards the return of harmony and safety. For us, it means much more love even when we find ourselves in situations of intolerance. Very often, it is home which is in need of tranquility due to the lack of understanding amongst loved ones. In other circumstances, our respectable friends are in conflict with one another. In some situations, there is an exaggerated aggressiveness from a friend or someone else, thus propagating violence. On many occasions along the pathway, there is the suffering of a dignified and noble friend who is still attached to his or her excessive pride. Therefore, in times like this, when darkness overshadows our lives with disturbances or even bigger challenges, blessed are all of those who decide to give the first step of benevolence, humility, tolerance, and forgiveness, thus helping us to recompose our pathways. Wherever you are, whoever you may be with, at any time, and as much as you can, give from yourself this addition of goodness, remembering that all of us, at any phases of our lives, receive from God the addition of mercy. If someone insults us, let us be more patient. If someone afflicts us, let us apply more comprehension with regard to other people's struggles. If any kind of damage emerges, then let us work more intensively. If there is any disapproval against us, let us bless and serve constantly. In all situations in which evil supports imbalance, let us have the courage to give the first step towards serenity, love, humility, and patience, which recompose the harmony of goodness. By Emmanuel. What else can we say, right? We sometimes sit here, and of course, the spirit mentors are guiding us and helping us prepare the studies and the notes. But then we read, like, what else can we say? This is Emmanuel. And the task is not only these teachings, but all the other teachings you see from the Spiritist doctrine is, why am I listening to this? There's got to be something that God wants us to know because God put us here to listen to these teachings. So, how can I apply this to my daily lives? First of all, let us remind ourselves we all are children of God. God is caring for each and every one of us every day of our lives. Whether we agree, disagree, like, or even believe in God is irrelevant. God is. God is doing it. So now that we know and now we believe, let's put into actions the teachings we have. Having these beautiful teachings today is a blessing from God to care for us because this is a world of trials and expiations. Gospel according to Spiritism, chapter 3. If the world is of trials and expiations undergoing the planetary transition towards regeneration, then we should expect trials and expiations. Correct? We can't expect to plant to sow strawberry when we excuse me to reap strawberries when we sowed corn. So we are on this planet of trials and expiation, all of us, to improve. There will be trials and tribulations, he says, in tribulations or disagreements that may aggravate our life problems, right? We go through things in life that we think aggravate our problems. He says, let us remember the need for a certain donation from ourselves. Because perhaps the most difficult tribulation or disagreement is the one to benefit the soul. Do we ever think of trials and tribulations as a benefit to our soul? That's a very good question for us. When we undergo a certain situation, do we first think, oh, this is for my improvement? No, probably not. The majority of us are still, why is this happening to me? He says. It might be the first step towards a return of harmony and safety. So sometimes God puts us in specific places, of course, in agreement with our incarnatory plan, which is the best thing for us to learn. And we keep hitting our heads against the wall, wondering why, questioning God. But sometimes God takes something or brings someone or a circumstance, and it is for our benefit. So, what is the lesson I can learn from this tribulation? He says, very often it's the home that needs tranquility because we don't understand one another in the home being the first school for the soul, the place where we are received this reincarnation with spirits who are helping us grow. We're helping them grow. But sometimes he says it's the home that needs tranquility. In other circumstances, those are tribulations he is or problems or disagreements he's listing. Other situations will be aggressiveness with friends and others that propagate violence or propitiate violence. In other circumstances, our friends are in conflict. And then he says, in many occasions, might be the suffering of a dignified and noble one who is still attached to the pride, or we may be the prideful ones. He says, in times like this, when darkness overshadows our life's disturbance, with disturbances, or even bigger challenges, blessed are all those who decide to give the first step to benevolence, humility, tolerance, and forgiveness, thus helping us recompose our pathway. So when it's difficulty come our way, it's he says, blessed are those who decide to give this step to benevolence, to understanding, to humility, to understand that there's a plan, there is God, God is in the control, Jesus is at the helm, tolerance towards ourselves and others, and forgiveness of offenses. Jesus was very clear that we needed to forgive 7 times, many times as needed, right? He says, whatever you are, doesn't matter in the world where, whoever you may be with, and at any time, and as much as you can, give from yourself this addition of goodness. So we sprinkle benevolence, humility, tolerance, and forgiveness. So we should have a little note card that says benevolence, humility, tolerance, and forgiveness. And every time a problem comes up, we have the sticky notes to remind us of what to do. Which, by the way, is a very concise way of describing the teachings of Christ on the Bible, right? Jesus was benevolent, was humble, was tolerant, was forgiving. And He is the most pure spirit that we have that came to incarnate on the earth to show us what it is to be the true human on planet Earth. More examples. If someone insults us, let us be patient. Someone afflicts us, we apply more comprehension. If we have damages, then we work more intensively. If there is disapproval, we bless and serve constantly because He's saying we have this addition of goodness. And He says at any phase of our lives, receive from God the addition of mercy. God is so good and so merciful that puts us in the right place, the right time, sprinkles some mercy to remind us that we have so much. We're so blessed, especially where we are in the US. We're so blessed with many physical resources and comfort. So we have to be mindful of giving back to the community, to others who are all around us. And last but not least, it says, in all circumstances in which evil supports unbalance, let us have the courage to give the first step to serenity, love, humility, and patience, which recompose the harmony of goodness. So, what are our antidotes to when disagreements, disillusionments, when darkness clouds our lives, when evil is important and unbalanced? He says, benevolence, humility, tolerance, forgiveness, serenity, love, humility, and patience. That's what. Oh, that's all done. Super easy, right? I'm joking. That hard. The message from the good spirits is simple, right? Love one another, Jesus said. Jesus did, right? I just said, but did. But it is hard to do because we're still growing. But one day we will. All of those attributes. That should be our multi-millenary plan. You know, when in our daily lives we're asked to do 1-year plan, 3-year plans, 5-year plans at work, our yearly proficiency reviews. We write what we want to do. So let's go back and meditate and write. In 1,000 years, I want to be more benevolent, humble, tolerant, and forgiving. And then I want to have more serenity, more love, more humility, and patience. So he repeated humility twice. So we have 7 things we can work on. And that should be our proficiency review every year. How much more tolerant was I? How much more benevolent was I? And if we go back 10 years, hopefully you're better today than you were then. We want to progress. We want to go forward. We want to press on. We want to be courageous to spend this time together every week, but not just because we like. We subscribe, we follow, and we're sharing because we enjoy being together. And these teachings have relevance and application in our daily lives. Dear friends, I'm so blessed and honored to be with you. I hope God will grant us many more opportunities to be together. Therefore, God willing, I'll return next week with another chapter from the book Courage. Until then, stay well, stay safe. I hope to see you soon. Bye bye.